Hello, folks. I'm Dr. Izrar Khankel. Um, my patients usually call me Dr. K, and actually I prefer that. Today we want to talk about the obesity um, in the country and the epidemic that we have in regards to obesity. So, why I want to talk about the obesity and why I would like to share my thoughts about the obesity. There are a variety of reasons. But the most important reason is that now obesity is now the most common chronic disease in the country. Um, Certainly, there are 232 diseases that are linked directly or indirectly with obesity, and so many other reasons. Some of the chronic diseases that are linked with the obesity is diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, like those. Now, what is obesity? So, there are a variety of different definitions about obesity, but the most common definition that is used is basically a screening tool. It's called body mass index. Body mass index is basically measured in kilograms per meter square of your body. So, what is the normal body mass index, first of all? So, the normal body mass index is from 18.5 to 24.9. What that means is that 18.5 kilogram per meter square of our body up to 24.9 kilogram per meter square of our body is considered normal weight. Now, anything from 25 to 29.9 BMI is considered overweight status. Now, anything above 30 body mass index is considered obesity. Certainly, these definitions are a little bit different for South Asians, ethnic background, or Chinese background, or Latin American background. For the Chinese and the Southeast Asian population, um, overweight status usually is considered a BMI of more than 23, and the obesity is considered more than 27.9. So if I have a patient that is from those background, then I'm going to use a different tools for that. And certainly the patient from that ethnic backgrounds, they should also be careful when they read the literature and some of this information, because different rules apply. Okay, so now that we talked about that, let's talk about the epidemic of obesity and how it started, and what are some of the theories and hypotheses that are interplay. Well, one of the most common reason is the diet and lifestyle. The way the trends in the dietary practices and the physical inactivity are just a few to name. Now, since the diabetes and the obesity is very closely linked to each other, I will go back in the history and just talk about a study that was done in Massachusetts General Hospital. And that study captured from 1824 to 1898. And in that period, there were only 172 cases of diabetes. Only, right? So today we have almost more than 30 millions of cases with diabetes. In 1958, we have only 1% cases of diabetes, and in 2009, the last study, we had almost 22% cases of diabetes, right? So you could see that some of these issues that are related to obesity and diabetes has a lot to do with the diet and lifestyle. Now, certainly, thanks to the sugar industry. They started in 1800, and at that time, the average sugar per capita per year was about 5 pounds. By 1900, there was 90 pounds of sugar per person per year were used. So, and if you look at these numbers, how much sugar we've been using from 1800 up to 1900 for the almost 100 years, the diabetes pandemic had went sky high, and so is the obesity pandemic. And certainly during those periods, most of the advocates, including the FDA, actually were quite neutral on some of these diabetes and high sugar diet. For example, FDA in 1986, they put a little note there, and they said that there's no conclusive evidence that will suggest that the use of sugar that is currently used that is harmful to human beings. And in 1986, the average consumption of sugar, according to FDA, was about 40 pounds per person per kilo, 40 kilo per person per year. So, so this is the situation about the obesity. What are some of the things that we can do? And I will not go into too much detail because we can cover that in the next videos. But the few things that we can do extremely important. Number one is diet and lifestyle modifications. Now, what can we do with the diet? Now, as you know, that anything that is touched by a human being, any food, is definitely being altered. I am of strong belief that one should eat from the sea and from the earth, natural foods, which is hard in these days to find them. But it could be an issue. But like any other issue in life, if we focus and we determine, to stay healthy and strong, we can definitely make some efforts to make good dietary practices. So in the diet, generally, what really will help is that if we could avoid high sugary drinks, coffee with sugar, too much juice, soda. If you drink 1 can of soda every day, statistically it will put about 17 pounds of weight on your body every year. And that's the fact. Now, so you want to make sure that you drink enough water, at least 70 ounces of water. You want to make sure that you stay away from cookies, candies, ice creams. You want to make sure that we use in moderation fast foods such as hot dogs, burger, pizza, potato chips, popcorns. All those things adds up to your lifestyle. Now, we recommend 2 to 4 servings of vegetables, green vegetables, probably 20% starchy vegetables, and the other 80% should be non-starchy green, yellow, or red vegetables. Also, what will help is portion size. Certainly, that's something that each one of us can look into that to see what is our portion size and to work on that. If you are on, let's say, on the 2,000 calorie diet, you wanted to cut it down at least to 500 calories less diet. The other thing is about the physical activity. Most of us also have the sedentary life, and the reason for that is that we as a human beings have become a lot more efficient. What that means is that we drive a car to get to work right away. We sit on the computer and solve a problem within minutes instead of hours. Um, we come home and we pick up the phone and we order the food instead of cooking it. That's we are efficient as a human being. We are doing all these things with efficiency, but what happened is that during the midst of all this, we have developed some unhealthy habits. And one way to deal with the unhealthy weight problem is that to become inefficient in certain ways. So we are more efficient now because of the technology and because of the different things that we do in our life. But to lose weight and to stay healthy, in some instances, we had to become inefficient. What I mean by that is that um, if I cook meals more often at home, that's inefficient but is more healthy. If I walk to work, if I can, I'm inefficient, but that is more healthy, right? Um, if I park the car a little bit far away when I go for shopping, that is more inefficient, but it's healthy. So these are some of the healthy practices. Certainly, we wanted to uh, do at least 150 minutes of physical activity per week just to maintain our weight. And that 150 minutes aerobics, you don't need to be sweating and huffing and puffing. You just has to be walking slowly, just to take that steps. Imagine 20,000 steps burn 500 calories. So you do the math. Now, the other thing is the mindset about the obesity and about the unhealthy weight. And that is how to deal with cravings and triggers. A lot of people have cravings for carbs. The most common craving is carbs, and different things work for different people. You want to do your own soul search to see how to deal with cravings. For example, I had a patient that we were doing the motivational interview with her, and I asked her, think about what can you do different when you have these um, uh, triggers and these cravings for carbs. And she said, well, in the past, what helped me when I go and take a hot shower, my cravings will usually go away, right? So you might have a different way of dealing with cravings and triggers. Certainly, that's a totally different talk that we can talk about it, how to deal with the mindset um, and how to deal with the cravings and triggers. That's a different discussion, but that's extremely important to 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 kind of do your soul searching and to see what can I do, when I have these cravings. If different people eat for different reasons, if they are too much stressed out, if they are too much anxious, if they are very bored, um, if they are very relaxed, they just indiscriminately start eating. And those are the things that you wanted to focus on and note them down and to see how can you do things differently. See, responsibility is the term that comes from the ability to respond. And we as a human beings, we can always respond differently to the same situation and practice our self-esteem differently. Certainly, it is difficult, it is hard, but it could be done. It is a process. Again, I'm very glad that I'm sharing these thoughts with you. And we're going to be doing quite a few videos on keto diet, on the Mediterranean diet, on the vegetarian diet, in more detail than some of the different and more specific strategies about the weight loss. Thank you.